Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 11.
The man who allegedly drove his car into a group of pedestrians in California Wednesday appeared in court today. Good evening and thanks for joining us on NBC 16 News at 11. Filling in, I'm Alexis Thrower. Police are now saying they have evidence the man deliberately drove into the pedestrians because he believed some of them were Muslim. Isaiah Peoples faces 8 counts of attempted murder for injuring 8 people Wednesday in Sunnyvale. 4 of those counts have an enhancement up for causing great bodily injury. 4 people remain in the hospital, including a 13-year-old girl who is still in critical condition. Peoples is 34 years old and is an Iraq war veteran. His defense attorney says the incident was not an intentional act and, quote, clearly was a product of some mental disorder.
Clearly, it's a case that his mental state is the issue. There's no real issue in terms of what happened, but his mental state is going to be the battleground in the case. We're going to have him evaluated by the best people we can find, because like all veterans, he deserves the best people we can find.
The charges Peoples is facing carry a maximum potential sentence of life in prison. State lawmakers have passed legislation to make certain mental health resources mandatory for law enforcement officers. Sponsors say the 2 bills will require screenings for new hires and mental health services in law enforcement agencies. Eugene Police says they've made this a top priority for years, but Reboot Alliance coordinator Chris Adsit says not all police departments have those resources.
It's going to depend on each department as to how they're going to actually apply it, and that's going to depend on the philosophy of the department.
The bills are now in the hands of Governor Kate Brown to sign into law. Tonight, a highway outside Denver remains shut down after a massive fiery crash killed 4 people. And now the semi-truck driver accused of causing it facing multiple counts of vehicular manslaughter. NBC's Morgan Chesky has the latest.
Tonight, investigators poring over a horrific crash scene after a collision on Thursday exploded into an inferno.
All you hear is this big, huge boom, and then the big black smoke just kind of went off all over.
Burning vehicles scattered across Interstate 70, some drivers still inside.
Multiple injuries, entrance ramp to I-70 eastbound, need lots of medics.
The carnage was significant, just unbelievable.
Rush hour traffic at a standstill.
We just cured anxiety.
Oh my God!
This driver capturing a shocking moment just before the crash. A tractor trailer barreling down the shoulder.
We almost died.
Caught in the aftermath, 24 cars and 4 semi-trucks. One of them, a flatbed carrying lumber, driven by the man police say started the deadly chain reaction.
He loses control of the vehicle. He can't stop, doesn't stop, and ends up colliding with several cars.
There is part of the semi-truck.
The driver, 23-year-old Rogelio Aguilera Madero, suffered minor injuries. Detectives confirming he was not under the influence of drugs or alcohol. But tonight, he's in custody, facing 4 counts of vehicular homicide and assault.
Police are examining the brakes on the truck in question, but say they already have enough evidence to show the suspect was driving recklessly. They plan to formally charge him tomorrow. Drivers are striking and killing first responders around accident scenes at alarming rates. Safety First is not only for accident victims, but for emergency responders. Traffic experts are coming together to plan ahead for safer response during a traffic incident. NBC 16's Kelsey Christensen gives us a look.
Think of what you would do coming up on a traffic accident like this one. Now think of all the different ways you could clean it up, while keeping everyone safe, including cops, paramedics, firefighters, first responders.
We think law enforcement's going to get shot on the side of the road, fire's going to die in a fire, and that's just not the case anymore.
According to national data, within the last 5 years, 10 police officers and 4 firefighters are struck and killed on the scenes of accidents each year, while 1 tow truck operator dies on the job each week.
We had to figure something out, right?
Justin Guinan is the ODOT coordinator for the state's Traffic Incident Management Program. What's its purpose? Training more than 6,500 Oregon first responders how to understand each other's role during an incident. and what safety gear is available, such as cones and reflectives.
So we want to get everybody in the room. We want them to talk. We want them to come up with these solutions and these ideas, not on the side of the road. Sometimes our towers, the first time they meet the fire department or DOT is on that big incident. We don't usually think of tow as a first responder, but in all reality, they're out there with us every day.
The International Association of Fire Chiefs is urging departments to provide more training.
But you also can't prevent everything, and that's the scary part of this whole thing is we can train all day, we can set up a perfect work zone and have everything that we need out there, and somebody's still going to get struck and killed.
That's why Guinan reminds drivers to pay attention and move over if you come across an incident on the roads. I'm Kelsey Christensen reporting.
On to a first look at weather. NBC 16's Chief Meteorologist Carmen Rose joins us now in the Weather Center. Carmen, the sun has been quite favorable. Can we expect this to keep showing up in our favor?
Oh, absolutely. And this weekend is looking fabulous, but we are going to be dealing with some cooler temperatures. Starting tonight, we already are cooler than what we have been over the past couple of nights. 47 degrees, clear conditions. That's going to help enable more of that cooling. So we'll dip down to those upper 30s for lows. So a bit chilly as we head overnight. We also have that northerly wind here that's not making it feel any warmer. By the time you get going tomorrow morning, we're looking at low 40s, and then we should top off into those low 60s. So a little bit cooler than what we felt today. Also going to be a little bit breezy here with northwesterly wind 5 to 15 miles per hour and gusts higher than that. So it is going to be a cool start if you are running that duck dash or 5K for tomorrow morning. Race start time, we're looking at low 40s and then warming up just like what I just said, into those low 60s. Sunday is going to be a similar start, but just a little bit cooler, mid to upper 30s by race start time for that half and full marathon on Sunday morning, and then warming up once more into those low 60s. I'll have a little bit more on your weekend forecast and what to look forward to next week coming up. Alexis.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carmen. Now, a boy is still in the hospital right now after he was shot in the back with a pellet gun. Police arrested the suspect, Michael Hart, and say he also shot a Gresham officer on the same street last night during an unrelated traffic stop. The officer will be okay, and the driver was unharmed. The day before, Hart allegedly shot 11-year-old Elijah Burnett Cruz from a tree. The pellets pierced skin in both cases. Our sister station from Portland spoke with the boy's father.
My son was shot in the back through his kidney. He was in a lot of pain. And today I find out that this guy allegedly shot a police in the arm.
Hart is also a registered sex offender. A Russian woman who admitted to being a secret agent for the Kremlin has been sentenced to 18 months in prison. 30-year-old Maria Butina pleaded guilty in December to one count of conspiracy to act as a foreign agent. The gun rights activist also admitted to secretly gathering intelligence on the National Rifle Association and other groups at the direction of a former Russian lawmaker. Butina has been behind bars since July of last year and will get credit for her time served. She'll be deported as soon as she completes her sentence. A Lebanon couple is facing felony charges tonight after 14 horses were found dead on their Berlin Road farm and another 34 were seized. According to Lynn County deputies, Carol and Edward Davidson are facing 34 counts of animal neglect. Deputies say they were first told of the issues with the horse conditions last December and tried to work with the two owners to improve them. However, they tell us the horses' conditions continue to get worse up until this past Wednesday when they were finally removed from the property.
They had bones and from their ribs and their hip bones showing, which they weren't putting on weight. Their water was, they didn't have access to clean water for drinking. There was little evidence there that they had adequate food.
The horses were removed with help from the nonprofit Sound Equine Options. They are now being fostered and receiving treatment and potentially save the horses' lives. The Center of Biological Diversity has filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration. It's on behalf of a type of bumblebee and other endangered species. Franklin's bumblebee may already be extinct. Its presence has not been recorded in 13 years, according to the center. The center's Endangered Species Director, Noah Greenwald, says over the years in the U.S., Fish and Wildlife Service has not met its deadlines for listing species in need of protection. That's when the lawsuit was filed against the Trump administration and the Secretary of the Interior. The center there says the Trump administration is preventing the agency from doing its job of protecting at-risk species. The lawsuit seeks protection for endangered species and for the bees. Greenwald says because of climate change and the growing human population, more and more species need protection. The Swingspan Bridge on the South Coast is swinging again. The Port of Coos Bay is now testing the rail bridge. The CEO says the opening is a plus for the South Coast economy.
The important thing is that there's got to be reliable service, and so we are working very diligently to make sure that the line is as vibrant and healthy as we can make it, to help support both existing businesses, and we're really anxious to get an occupant back into the GP facility.
Burns says the rail line itself supports over 1,000 jobs. According to the port, businesses will be able to use the bridge again starting next week. The Cottage Grove Speedway is finally open and filled with drivers and fans. The track was supposed to open 5 weeks ago, but heavy snowfall and the recent flooding kept the doors closed. Tonight was night 1 of the track's spring fling, with drivers in several divisions racing. For organizer Heather Boyce, it's more than just a job.
We're really just looking forward to getting back out here. This is like a family. I've kind of grown up here, and a lot of these guys have. They've all the drivers out here have become like my kids or other, it's just really fun to be out here. It was a long winter, and we're just really excited to have everybody back.
We caught up with one of the sprint car drivers who says for some tonight, it is a lot more than just racing.
It's kind of a family sport. There's a lot of family here. There's a lot of people I know, a lot of friendships made. I really enjoy it, and it's just a lot of fun to go out there and race.
About 1,500 people were expected for tonight's event, with plenty more coming throughout the rest of opening weekend. Coming up next on NBC 16 News at 11, 2 prominent universities in Los Angeles have now been exposed to the measles outbreak. Plus, just 2 weeks after Fisher-Price issued a massive recall of sleep blockers due to fatalities, another brand is recalling a similar product.
When you're in an emergency, you've been taught to do one thing.
911.
16 News at 11.
In California, over 900 students and staffers quarantined, far more than initially reported after they may have been exposed to the growing measles outbreak. NBC's Miguel Almaguer is in Los Angeles with the latest.
The order to immediately quarantine over 900 people at 2 high-profile universities sent shockwaves through UCLA and Cal State Los Angeles.
When they're like measles, I was like, what? I'm like, where did that come from?
At UCLA, a contagious student attended classes exposing up to 127 people. After some were quarantined on campus, tonight nearly everyone is self-isolated at home.
It's really kind of jarring when you hear about it happening kind of in your own backyard.
At Cal State LA, 787 people may have been exposed at the library, all also ordered to stay home. Now the president, who doctors say previously incorrectly suggested a link between autism and vaccinations, is urging Americans to get immunized.
They have to get the shot. The vaccinations are so important.
With a soaring 695 cases reported in 22 states, health officials are scrambling to stop the historic spread. The original 2 carriers in Southern California infected at least 3 other people, but could have exposed thousands as they passed through LAX, 2 restaurants, and 2 universities.
Wow, being an alum of Cal State LA myself and having many friends at UCLA, for everyone, be sure to check your immunization records to see if you've been vaccinated to protect against measles, or consult with your doctor to ensure you were not exposed. Amid the measles outbreak, the Oregon House is set to vote on tougher rules for childhood vaccinations. Under the bill, shots are needed to go to public schools unless the student has a doctor's note. Legislators say they were flooded with at least 2,000 emails from the opposition before the vote today to move it out of committee. Unvaccinated children would still be able to attend online school under the bill, but they could not go to in-person school-related activities. Another brand of sleeping rockers is being recalled. Kids 2 is recalling nearly 700,000 rocking sleepers due to 5 infant deaths. According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the deaths occurred after the infants rolled from their back to their stomach while unrestrained or under other circumstances. The recall covers all models of the sleeping rocker, which were sold at nationwide retailers, including Walmart, Toys R Us, and online between March 2012 and today. Anyone who purchased the product is being urged to stop using it immediately and contact Kids 2 for a refund or voucher. Turning to weather now, NBC 16's Chief Meteorologist Carmen Rose is standing by for a look at what's coming up in your full forecast. Hey, Carmen.
Hey, Alexis. Well, sun continues to be the case for the rest of the weekend and this work week, but we do have some changes in your temperatures. I'll tell you what those are in 2 minutes.
It's time to turn heads in a Toyota. With Chief Meteorologist Carmen Rose.
Good evening. We are already cooling down for tonight thanks to those clear conditions into those 40s for Eugene as well as Corvallis and also along the coast, Roseburg into those mid-50s. So a little bit different than those low 60s that we felt yesterday at this time. What we're watching next is this very weak cold front. It's going to make its way over Washington and then stall out toward our north. So basically a few showers over Washington and into far northern Oregon, but that's going to be about it. That's because we have high pressure right here. This ridge is what's going to keep out that rainfall and a lot of the clouds for the most part as we head throughout tonight and tomorrow. So forecast lows will be a little bit cooler. Not only are we cooling down more so, but a little bit quicker. So you will notice that if you've stepped outside anytime recently or if you step outside early tomorrow morning, as we will dip down to those upper 30s for Eugene, Corvallis, as well as Cottage Grove, low 40s for Roseburg and mid 40s over North Bend as well as Coos Bay. So our futurecast will show you that front starting to stall out here as we get closer to the morning hours of tomorrow. But again, those showers should stay closer to Astoria, not really going to impact us across the Willamette Valley coast or down into the Umpqua Basin. We're going to see more sunshine later in the afternoon with temperatures very seasonable and a little bit cooler than what we felt today. Instead of those upper 60s, we will be into the low 60s, closer to 70 degrees for Roseburg, but still into those upper 60s. And then looking at upper 50s along the coast and also a little bit breezy. So that northerly wind going to make it feel a little bit cooler out there throughout the afternoon. Sunday morning is going to be our coldest one. We will likely dip to those mid 30s for Eugene. Some spots could hit 32 as well, so right at freezing. That's going to be the case for your Sunday morning. So a cool start here if you are running in that half or full marathon for Sunday morning. But later in the afternoon, we're going to see plenty of sunshine, temperatures warming up into those low 60s, and that's going to be the case for your Saturday. Looking at low 60s for Eugene, upper 60s for Roseburg, and upper 50s for Coos Bay and North Bend. Now the other thing is going to be dealing with some medium to high pollen counts, which will continue tomorrow and through the rest of the weekend, thanks to those breezy, dry, and warm conditions. Frost advisory will go into effect 2 a.m. until 9 a.m. Sunday morning for Roseburg as well as North Bend into Coos County. So that's when we expect those cold temperatures. If you have sensitive vegetation or plants, if you can bring them in or cover them, good idea to do so Saturday night. We're then going to track more sunshine, and that's going to be the case all the way through next week to end our April and start May. I don't have really significant rain chances until Friday evening, and even then not looking so promising as of now. The coast, a little bit breezy, upper 50s for tomorrow, staying into those 60s then by the end of the weekend on Sunday and into next week. And Roseburg, same pattern, but just a little bit warmer. Looking at upper 60s for Saturday, low 70s for Sunday, and then warming up into those low to mid 70s throughout next week.
I should have worn my yellow dress to represent all the sunlight we're getting.
I know, lots of it, but eventually we of course need that rainfall still, but I would say it's welcome compared to the beginning of April.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Carmen. Yep. And now we have Hayden Herrera, and it was a surprising softball game today.
Yeah, Civil War Series, Oregon and Oregon State, a rivalry that has been lopsided as of late. Well, it's going to switch the other way, at least for today. A historic day for the Beavs at the Jane. We'll hear from the Beavers next.
Who knew cupcakes could be so painful? But the smell of
Sports Desk is brought to you by Three Rivers Casino Resort.
Oregon softball's dominance in the Civil War in the past 6 seasons has been daunting. Entering today, the Ducks had only lost to the Beavers once since 2013. But as we all know, these are not the Ducks of yesteryear. First Civil War series under Missy Lombardi. Top of the second, Izzy Owen at the dish for the Beavs. Deep to center, Haley Cruz makes the grab at the wall, but it's enough for Frankie Hamoudi to score. Puts OSU up 1-0. Later in the second, 2-on for Maya Rader. She crushes one over the head of Cruz. No catching that one. It's 3-0 Beavs. Top of the fifth, 2-on for Kayleen Schaefer. Slices it down the left field line. Umps call it fair. Missy Lombardi doesn't think so. Going to go out to argue, but she will not have any luck. 2 more runs score for the Beavs. OSU wins 8-0 in 5 innings. Beavs, first run rule of Oregon since 2001.
As a senior, it's always good to come out. We started out really hot, and to beat Oregon as a senior, it feels really good.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I mean, I don't even know when the last time we got a run rule was. So, yeah, just coming out with the fight that we've had all season really showed tonight.
Game 2 of the series tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Oregon State baseball head coach Pat Bailey is a very respectful human being. On Thursday, Bailey said that his team's opponent this weekend, Washington State, a team with only 1 Pac-12 win this season, is, quote, capable of beating anybody, end quote. Huge crowd at Goss on a great night in Corvallis. Bottom of the second, Beavs up 2-0. Andy Armstrong, solo shot to left center. Is it over the wall? It is. First home run of the season for Armstrong, 3-0 OSU. To the third, now 3-1. 1 on, nobody out for Ryan Ober. He smacks a single to the left. That's going to bring home Joe Casey. It's 4-1 Beavers. Still in the third, Jake Dukart, the former quarterback, drives a gapper to left center. It's going to bring in Adley, Rutschman, and Ober. 6-1 Beavers. This game got out of hand quickly. In the 7th, it would be 11-4, and Rutschman takes a 3-0 pitch. That one's going to the train tracks over the scoreboard. Grand slam. They really need a run rule in college baseball. OSU wins 18-4.
Adley's just having a great year. I mean, when he has his opportunities and he has a pitch that he can handle, he doesn't miss it. So, you know, he's obviously getting walked a lot, and he's just got to be patient. And honestly, he didn't have first couple of bats he had were not very good at bats, but he got a fastball that was on the inner third of the plate about thigh high, and he took care of it. So he's just, you know, I mean, he's the best all-around player I've probably ever coached.
These two teams back at it tomorrow at 1:35 p.m. Finally tonight, Oregon baseball on the road at Cal. The Ducks went to the bottom of the 9th, up 7-6, but the Golden Bears hit a pair of homers for the comeback win. Oregon has now lost 4 of the last 5. Game 2 tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. Also, no Ducks drafted today in the NFL draft. Final day is tomorrow. Expect about 4 Ducks to become NFL players tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I did definitely tune in because I have not been following the NFL draft, but I need to.
Yeah, you should. Long day. I think it's on for 7 hours tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I don't know if I can give them 7 hours, but thank you so much, Hayden. Now, spring is here, and it has brought on wildflowers in Tennessee. Some reminders from park rangers.
You know when you're at Ross and you find, ooh.
Flowers are in full bloom in the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, but park rangers are reminding people that visitors' activity can hurt the flowers, and it's also illegal to pick them. Tourists will often pose a threat to themselves and animals trying to get closer for a photograph, but the same behavior also threatens wildflowers. When people walk around a flower to get a picture, they hurt the surrounding area, which may contain late bloomers. Also, when the soil around the flower is compacted, it hurts the plant's chance of returning next spring. So, folks, no touching.
Have you been to the Smoky Mountains?
I have, yes.
Being from Memphis?
Yeah. Being from Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised, so love the Smokies.
The Smokies, and what about the flowers?
And the flowers, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching NBC 16 News at 11. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
It's Ford Truck Month,